So this is a great clip you need to see of the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations replying to the Palestinian ambassador. They say state of Palestine. Of course, there is no state of Palestine. But here he is replying to his continued, incessant, false attacks on Israel. Have a watch.
Continuing and waging the genocide against our people.
I see the representative of the Palestinian Authority is still here. He has been sitting in that chair for 20 years. You have spent 2 decades in this place proposing resolutions which stir chaos, sow division, and avoid any hope. You have accomplished absolutely nothing but incite hatred and violence while claiming to be an advocate for peace. But I want to clarify an important point, and I demand an answer, Mr. Mansour. Who do you represent here today? Who you represent here today? Do you represent the Hamas terror organization? Since October 7th, you have delivered hundreds of speeches, yet you have never uttered anything even resembling a condemnation of Hamas. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone have heard any condemnation for the Hamas atrocities? Mr. Mansour, if you cannot condemn them, you are one of them. You do not represent the Palestinian people. Mr. Mansour, you are a terrorist in a suit. I demand you to condemn Hamas. If you do not condemn them, you are one of them.
Wow. And one correction I must say is that, unfortunately, according to polling, it seems that he does actually represent many of the Arabs that live in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, or indeed in Gaza. That's just according to polling. That's according to first-hand evidence. But I really like what the ambassador did there. Because, I'm sorry, just because you might not necessarily be part of Hamas, but all you're prepared to do is just point the finger at Israel the whole time. You're the problem, you do this, you do that, the false slurs of genocide, of colonization, of apartheid, all these things. And you never actually propose any solutions. You never condemn the terrorism and Hamas. Then frankly, you're, at the very least, you're not part of any solution, but actually you're making it clear that your only real agenda is to undermine Israel, to destroy Israel. And that's the point. That's been the Palestinian agenda from the start. It's not about wanting a state of their own where they can have their, self-determination as a distinct national identity. If that was the case, they would have their state by now. Goodness me, they've been offered state since the 1930s. Look at the Peel Commission. The Arabs were going to have the majority of the land. The Jews were just going to have a tiny little spot in the north. They said no. No. And now they're dressed in their suits and they're sort of saying, they decry Israel as being appalling and doing all these terrible things, but they have no solutions. They don't say what they want and they won't condemn the terrorists. Let's be clear. Don't be fooled by the highbrow talk of just decrying Israel and saying they're terrible and woe is me. This is a cynical agenda. That's been the case since the get-go, to get rid of the Jews and the Jewish state. That's what it's about. If their quarrel was about having their own state, it would have been done and dusted many decades ago. The Palestinian construct, the Arab-Palestinian construct, was simply a tool of getting rid of Israel. The proof being, listen to the Arab-Palestinian leaders from the start. Whether it's Haj Amin al-Husseini or Arafat or even PLO leaders, certainly Hamas leaders. The first sort of Arab-Palestinian conference that started when the conflict really kicked off. They said, we'd be happy to be part of southern Syria. When the surrounding Arab armies tried to destroy Israel in 1948, they wouldn't have created some Palestinian state. They would have all just had chunks of the land because they consider themselves Arabs. And they want Arab unity. They cannot have the Jews returning to their homeland. It's too threatening to their whole theological paradigm that Islam will take over the world, and certainly that kind of region. But unfortunately, this is the Jewish people's land. Just look at the fact that their mosque on the Temple Mount is above the prior Jewish temple. If it was underneath, then maybe they'd have a stronger claim. And Jews have always been happy to live alongside Arabs there. But they have the right, not just the right, the obligation, the duty, the fact that this is Jewish land. And it has been for millennia. And it also is according to international law. And from the laws of indigeneity and ancient history, and certainly theologically and biblically. I can guarantee you now, if you didn't have a Palestinian state but it was conquered by some other Arab army, the Arabs wouldn't have an issue if there was no longer any Israel. So therefore, their cause is built on a stack of lies. And it should not be indulged any further. Because all that Palestinian ambassador wants to do is simply undermine Israel, undermine. Danny Danon is right. He is no different to those who say explicitly and act explicitly in the cause of seeking Israel's destruction. God forbid. So this is good to see. We should stop tiptoeing around the issues, tiptoeing around these people and these agendas. We should just state the truth plainly and calmly, with a smile on our face, but the truth of the matter, which is that the land of Israel is an eternal inheritance of the nation of Israel. And we're very happy for others to live in the land, but they have to accept that fact. It's as simple as that. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.